Speaker. As I rise today in this honorable house, I'd like to wish all my Guyanese brothers and sisters happy 51st Republic anniversary. As we celebrate the journey of our beloved country, Guyana, let us celebrate in mind oneness, one Guyana, as our motto, one people, one nation, one destiny. Mr. Speaker, as today marks the 6th month since the People's Progressive Party assumed office and is presenting its second budget to the people of Guyana. In 2020, this government come to the people with a plan for prosperity that brings relief in 100 days to the Guyanese people. To all sectors of Guyanese population, regardless of their affiliation. Mr. Speaker, I extend my gratitude to the People's Progressive Party administration and Honorable Finance Minister, Dr. Ashley Singh, and the staff and team for presenting its full year 2021 budget. That will take the Guyanese people to a path of recovery. And I reiterate, Honorable Finance Minister, recover we must, recover we will. Mr. Speaker, as I listen to the honorable member who just stepped out of the House, about people have to decide who the government has to be, not the honorable minister. That's the result. We are here because the people talk by themselves. On March 2 and August 2nd. Mr. Speaker, before I go further, the opposition APNU, AFC on the outside of the bench, fails to realize that government is elected based on track record. And when they are reminded of the track record, they feel hurt because the truth hurts. And so, Mr. Speaker, in 2015, as honorable member on the other side mentioned that 20% of increase in salaries, APNU AFC came with that in their manifesto in 2015. 20% increase to teachers, public servants, disciplinary forces. Instead, they increase their salary 50% and leave the public servant in darkness. And so, Mr. Speaker, when we present our manifesto, it's a 5-year plan we present, but the opposition seems not to understand the manifesto. And so, Mr. Speaker, today we have a government with a vision. With a vision. So today, as we debate Budget 2021, I want to welcome the other opposition members. Welcome in the ring. As we are here to debate in the ring, we are here to represent the people of Guyana. We are here, Mr. Speaker, to represent the Guyanese people. We are here not to divide people. This is the right place to address people's issues, not in the Stabroek Square, but here in the Parliament, here in Guyana. Mr. Speaker, towns, villages in the hinterland can feel their relief from this budget after heavy taxes, VAT, that was laid upon the Guyanese people between 2015 and 2020. Those taxes and VATs is being removed by this government, People's Progressive Party Civic, when they assume office on 2nd of August 2020. The hinterland villages can now enjoy the improvement of transportation after duty is removed from ATVs by this government. Mr. Speaker, as we speak about employment, my member on the side of the House speak about vindictiveness. The APNU AFC in 2015 fired more than 2,000 youths in Guyana. And now the youths of today are much happy. After we assume office, they are now employed as community support officers and more welcome on board in this 2021 budget. Mr. Speaker, I can recall when the then the President, David Granger, was asked about employment. He said, I quote, "There is no possibility that the government could simply start employing the young people," end quote. And further went to say, I quote, "We cannot promise to employ every one of them. It was not the government's responsibility to provide jobs. There is no way that the government could give each and everyone a person a job," end quote. But instead, Mr. Speaker, he asked the young people to go on the street and sell cook-up rice, chips, guava cheese, and jam. How can you expect our young people to go on the street and sell cook-up, and every day we eat our cook-up at home? Mr. Speaker, where is the market? Thank you, Honorable Member. Youth in the hinterland right now are enjoying the relief from this budget. As I speak, Mr. Speaker, in 2015, the then President, again, Mr. David Granger, came with a 10-point plan where he put a plan to hinterland villages. But, Mr. Speaker, the APNU failed to deliver their 10-point plan. But today in 2021 budget, $700 million is been allocated for solar electricity for hinterland communities. In the 10-point plan, Mr. Speaker, Happy Household program was there. This was to ensure investment in economic projects. But, Mr. Speaker, again, the APNU AFC fails to deliver within their time in office. But within the 6 months, the People's Progressive Party, fulfilled its promise to the people of Guyana, not only to the Amerindians, but the entire Guyanese population, by injecting 25,000 cash grants to every household in Guyana that bring relief to the homes that were affected by COVID-19 pandemic. Interlined education support program was also on the 10-point plan. Mr. Speaker, those plans was to provide breakfast, textbook, exercise book. But I want to show you, Mr. Speaker, as a record, this exercise book was given to the hinterland children when the APNU AFC was in government. There's the evidence I have here. Book. There's the evidence I have here. The hinterland students receive in every school. But today, Mr. Speaker, education will be improved, not only through exercise book, but through smart classroom. Learning channel will be introduced to the schools. Mr. Speaker, today we are yet to identify former Ministry of Boat and Bicycle. And today we still yet to find out who was the former Minister of Boat and Bicycle. Mr. Speaker, I listened to the first speaker when she mentioned that 15,000 is not enough for the school children. But today, I want to ask, what did the APNU AFC did for the school children when they squashed 10,000 We Care cash grant? What did they do? What did they replace it with? There was nothing. The children had to suffer. Mr. Speaker, today, the school children received or benefited from the 4,000 uniform cash grant and allowances, and 15,000 per child will be delivered to the school children in 2021. The importance of ICT, information technology, is more evident than it had ever been. Interland was left behind. Mr. Speaker, I have a record here from a resident from Kako in Upper Mazaruni, requesting for a radio set in modern times to honorable member of the opposition. But I want to assure you, Mr. Speaker, that this government will deliver the information technology to all Amerindian villages. Not only to Kako, but to the people of Mazruni, Amerindian at large, and to the other groups who are not connected to improve communication. Land titling project. When People's Progressive Party demanded office in 2015, it had set and plan intervention to issue new certificates of land titles to Amerindian villages. But APNU, upon assuming office, dismissed the performance of the PPPC government. From 2016 to the time they were lost, they reluctantly issued only two certificates. Mr. Speaker, this is not a might, but this was admitted by the then Minister of Indigenous Peoples Affairs, Mr. Sidney Alicock, when he said that his coalition government did not issue any certificate to the Amerindian villages. That is why he's not here in this House. Mr. Speaker, the People's Progressive Party, CIVIC, when it resumed office, have worked tirelessly to re-energize the land titling project for Amerindian people. The titling program was dormant for 5 years, and so the PPPC has allocated $630 million in 2021 to expedite the granting of Amerindian land titles. And so, Mr. Speaker, the villages are waiting with confidence for their titles to be granted. Mr. Speaker, Budget 2021 is a fulfillment of PPPC manifesto, and the government will deliver its commitment to the people of Guyana. They know that we can. We are their government. Amerindian development is on the government agenda. So the government of the day will improve roads from farm to market in all regions, more specifically from Kako to Camrang to Ramdang or Pamas. And already, Mr. Speaker, Amerindian villages in Region 7 benefited from a whopping sum of over $200 million in village grant that was distributed for the past days, last month. The People's Progressive Party has increased presidential grant initiative that we started. There was no new initiative that the APNU AFC left. So we will continue to finance our initiative. The health sector, as we are speaking about health will be improved in all regions, not only in Amerindian communities. Mr. Speaker, as I mentioned, I'm hearing job shortage, we need to understand that we are addressing the shortage that you left for us to address. We are addressing that. And so, Mr. Speaker, as I mentioned earlier, this budget not only catered for one sector, agriculture. Agriculture was condemned by the previous government in hinterland villages. But Mr. Speaker, this government will be the people's government, and we will remain here as long as we deliver our commitment to the people of Guyana. So, Mr. Speaker, People's Progressive Party CIVIC has charted a course outlined in our manifesto and elaborated by His Excellency. One thing is sure, if we have all hands embracing the spirit of oneness elaborated by His Excellency, One Guyana. Mr. Speaker, I call on the other side of the House to join with us to support this budget into an era of economic dynamism and secure lasting and resilient prosperity for all Guyanese for generations to come. Mr. Speaker, the civil society is pleased with measures set up by this government and is largely considered and reflected in the national budget for 2021. To this end, the budget is indeed people's focused budget, which is healthy to facilitate broad-based and inclusive growth of economy in terms of job creation and new social programs. Mr. Speaker, it gives me a pleasure to commend and support 383.1 billion budget 2021 presented in this House. I ask honorable members on the other side to join with us, to work with us, and not to divide. This is the People's Parliament and not at the Stabrook Square. Thank you, Mr. Speaker.